Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right?
You know, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love. And all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
It's like Uncle Will, you know? Who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice.
Hold up, what? Because the name blowing up in all this chaos is Bilal, somebody the internet paints as linked to Will Smith's inner circle years back. And Bilal is out here dropping some of the most explosive accusations you can launch at a major celebrity, including claims that Will weaponized access and power to reel in certain young cats, then allegedly violated boundaries that folks online are labeling straight-up predatory. Bilal also attempts tying those accusations to Bryshere Gray, insisting that what allegedly went down behind closed doors is partially why Bryshere's world later appeared to collapse, including him appearing in explicit material online. That's the narrative getting pushed, and it's precisely why this saga keeps detonating every time it resurfaces. And as if that wasn't chaotic enough, Bilal claims that once he started running his mouth publicly, Jada Pinkett Smith went ballistic, and pressure dropped lightning fast. He alleges there were threats and intimidation tactics, and he paints it as a scenario that blew up into legal warfare. In other words, he's not spinning this as gossip for engagement. He's framing it like an all-out war.
You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and picked out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
He said, you know Will raped me. You know Diddy made me suck his penis. You know what's going on. You know Charlie made me suck. Well, I'm going to give you a chapter from the book since I owed you something.
Okay.
In the book, in one of the chapters, it talk about mentorship. So I grabbed my husband. I said, listen, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. Nothing. I was just asked to come. Is this true? Yeah. No, I'm gonna let you about to see if it's true from the paperwork. Oh, we telling something that got paperwork involved.
Now, the reason this even ignited initially is because Bilal didn't just drop hints. He went directly for the jugular. He first came at Will during a heated sit-down on Tasha K's show, and the way he delivered it had people absolutely shook. Bilal made graphic, explicit allegations, including claiming he personally witnessed an inappropriate sexual situation involving Will Smith and actor Dwayne Martin. He described it as something he caught in a private setting. And even without repeating the specifics, you understand why the internet reacted the way it did. It was the type of claim that instantly morphs into clips, stitches, reaction videos, and non-stop commentary. And naturally, once it went viral, everything got amplified. Bilal's side says the response arrived quickly. He alleges that within hours of the interview spreading, legal threats materialized, and he got pressured to shut his mouth. He also claims Jada accused him of attempting to extort her and Will before going public, basically painting him as somebody chasing a bag. And that's where the narrative split in real time, because one side viewed it as he's lying and got caught, and the other side saw it as they're trying to scare him into silence. But here's what made it even messier. Instead of backing down, Bilal doubled down.
We put out the interview. All we put out was a clip that went ultra viral. Okay? Yeah. Everybody in the world got this clip. It was trending for days on Twitter. Okay? Before the interview comes out, what shocked me is Jada is doing her book promotional for Worthy.
Yes.
She goes to the Breakfast Club and she sits down and they ask her about you, but they can't not ask. Like, it's so huge.
Right.
And to my surprise, she answers.
It's ridiculous, right? and it's nonsense. And this is a person that tried a money shakedown that didn't work. We're going to take legal action.
The reason Will responded, the reason why Jada responded, because they know it's true. Will's never responded. And they responded in less than 9 hours.
They did. That was a fast response.
That was because he know what I saw in that dressing room. He know other things that I saw. She did all this to try to scare me, but I fear no one but Allah. Jada, listen, in 2 weeks, if you don't sue me in 2 weeks, if Tasha K will have me, I'm back here and I'm dropping evidence. Period. You said I extorted you. You said as a money shakedown. You said a lot of things about me. And you know that the things that you said were untrue. Let's get into a little bit more of it. Jada runs Will. Period. Me and her at war. I'm gonna put Will to the side. Will is to the side. Me and Jada, I will say this because I know you're watching. I know Karen Tense is watching.
Who's Karen Tense?
That is her PR person for years.
Okay.
Right? I know they're watching. Jada, you're a bald head liar and you're a addict, right?
Oh God.
You told the world that you were gonna sue me. As of yet, and you said you're gonna do it swift. It's been over 2 weeks. So Jada, I'm giving you 2 more weeks to sue me. If you don't sue me, this is what's gonna happen. All the parties, right? And the men that you hit with dildos, I'm naming names, right? All the salacious stuff that you have done and hurt other people, I'm naming names. You assassinate my character. You say I extort you. Well, extortion is criminal. Like, I would be in jail right now if I tried to extort.
He rolled back on Tasha K's show again for a part 2, and his energy was even more aggressive. He dragged Jada publicly, dared her to keep the legal pressure flowing, and implied that if they wanted a real war, he was ready to escalate. That move alone is what made a lot of people say, hold on, most people do not keep talking like this when they think a lawsuit is coming. And I get why that sticks in people's minds, because usually when someone's bluffing, they get quiet the moment attorneys show up. They vanish, they delete, they walk it back. Bilal did the complete opposite. He kept stepping out, kept speaking, and kept escalating his claims like he had nothing to lose. That doesn't prove he's telling the truth, but it does explain why so many people online started treating this like a legitimate situation instead of just another rumor cycle, and he wasn't finished. Bilal then popped up on another podcast called Make It Make Sense, and that's where he pushed the narrative even further. He basically attempted to frame Will as Diddy Jr., accusing him of allegedly using mentorship as bait. According to Bilal, the pitch to these young men is opportunity, guidance, connections, the whole Hollywood dream. But Bilal claims the reality behind the curtain was something darker, where people were allegedly pressured into sexual situations while their careers didn't move the way they were promised. He also alleges that when Will was done with someone, they were discarded. And he even implies there was a pattern of people being pushed toward other powerful industry figures. Again, these are his allegations, but you can see why the internet grabbed it. Because it's the same Hollywood pipeline storyline people already believe exists. Then Bilal goes even further and claims Will admitted to wrongdoing involving Bryshere Gray, and he suggests there's documentation that supports serious misconduct allegations. That's the kind of claim that hits like a bomb, because once someone starts saying paperwork exists, people stop treating it like gossip and start demanding receipts. And since Bryshere Gray's name is already tied to years of online rumors, Bilal's allegations basically poured gasoline on a fire already burning.
And about Bryshere's mom, I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. I'll kill and Charlie. You happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell. I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. You can see that came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a drug dealer's whore. That's all she ever was. She went from dealer to dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on until she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy. And I hope anybody that bought it asks for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's gay.
Because for a long time, there's been chatter that Bryshere was pulled into certain circles under the promise of mentorship, including claims that both Will and Diddy were involved in that career guidance narrative. And to make it even worse, the story being pushed online alleges that Bryshere's own mother, Andrea, was aware of it, or even involved in approving access. The way people tell it is like this. Back when Bryshere was hot off Empire and trying to build both acting and music, he was in the perfect position to be managed by bigger forces. The rumor claims his former manager, Charlie Mack, allegedly had the green light from Andrea to connect Bryshere with Will and Diddy for mentorship. And if you look at it from the outside, you can see why it would sound tempting. Two powerful names, two massive lanes, acting and music. That looks like a shortcut to the next level. And the internet loves to add this part. They say Bryshere himself seemed excited back then, like he genuinely believed those connections would change everything. People point to old interviews and say you could hear the optimism, like he thought he was finally getting the push that would turn potential into a real career empire. But then the narrative flips, because the same people pushing these claims also point to Bryshere's later public struggles, including substance issues and appearing in explicit content online. And they try to frame it as, this is what happens after the mentorship ends. They present it like a before and after story where the promise was success, but the result was a collapse. And that's where this gets so toxic online.
Story short, when I'm in Chicago, this guy's acting erratic. Crazy. He's getting stopped by the cops. There's male prostitutes involved. There's mental illness involved. There's drug use involved. And I'm really trying to see what happened to this guy. And one day he said, you know what happened. You know that Will R-worded me, or however y'all kind of say it on YouTube. You know that Diddy assaulted me. And you know Charlie Mack made me suck his private part. Right? And I'm like, whoa. This was a full admittance. And he's going, and I'm like, I didn't know anything. He's in the corner, balled up, snot, so much sweating and pain that blood is coming from his nose, right? And this is me and him in a conversation. And he was like, please don't tell him, right? Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right? So I'm like, okay, so now it's starting to make sense, because I would have never believed that the way this guy's acting, something had to happen. So now, Will told me, and this is going to be in paperwork and everything, right? So when Will told me that he did have sexual intercourse with Bryshere, he said Bryshere did ask him to stop. Will said he completed the act, then stopped. Right then and there, when a person says stop, that means stop. Period. So I do believe that Will Smith assaulted Bryshere Gray. Charlie Mack and Will gets a lawyer for Bryshere, and they try to get me under NDA. I tell Will, I'm not signing. I don't even have an NDA with you. How am I getting an NDA with him? You understand what I'm saying? So I hire a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. When I hire the lawyer, he comes back and say, listen, this is the best I can do. He said, I'm going to have y'all do a mutual NDA, meaning that Bryshere can't tell people that you know that Will and Diddy actually assaulted him. And I want to say the R word, but I know we're on YouTube. Then you can't say nothing about him. So I said, okay, well, as long as he stopped telling people that I know what Will and Diddy did to him. You understand what I'm saying? Period. That was the problem. So there's legal paperwork, and it's all going to be, and you got to follow this case. All that's coming.
Because once people decide a storyline makes sense, they start treating every messy chapter in someone's life as proof. And that's exactly why this whole situation keeps resurfacing. Bilal's allegations didn't start the rumors about Bryshere, they just gave the rumors a new headline, a new villain, and a louder platform. And then Jaguar Wright steps into the middle of it and basically says mentorship? Yeah, that's not how she frames it at all. According to Jaguar, the very last thing Will was offering Bryshere was guidance. She paints it as something darker, where mentorship was just a label. People used to make a situation look respectable from the outside. And this is where the internet starts stacking timelines. Because when people talk about Bryshere's life shifting after those alleged connections, they don't just point to rumors. They point to his public legal troubles and say, look at how fast everything fell apart. There's the widely discussed situation in 2022 where Bryshere was arrested and later faced serious legal consequences tied to an alleged incident involving a woman. And that wasn't the first time his personal life made headlines, because back in 2020 there was another major incident reported around his marriage, including claims that his wife ran to get help and police were involved. Then there's the part everyone remembers visually. When mugshots hit the internet, people couldn't believe how different he looked from the Empire era, and the comment sections did what they always do. They turned it into a before and after story. Like his downfall was the missing piece that proves everything else people have been whispering. But Jaguar didn't stop at the general storyline. She came back around that same time and added more allegations, claiming that Bryshere's mother, Andrea Mayberry, was not just aware of the mentorship setup, but allegedly approved it. And she also repeats the rumor that Bryshere's former manager, Charlie Mack, helped facilitate those connections. That's the claim, not a proven fact. But it's the kind of claim that spreads fast because it turns the story from bad decisions into someone handed him over. And then she throws gasoline on it.
By a whole lot of strength, he's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
It's like Uncle Will, you know? Who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life. And it's like, I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me welcome.
Secret in Hollywood that Jada hates me because I have a strong relationship with Will and I do my own thing.
Why don't she hate Dwayne?
I can't answer that question.
Why don't she hate Dwayne Martin?
Well, she's gonna love anybody that treats her like she's a god, right? When you're a narcissist and a sociopath like she is, and I'll get into that, you want to be worshipped.
Jaguar also claimed that after Cassie's lawsuit put a spotlight on Diddy, Bryshere was allegedly talking to lawyers about taking action too, possibly against both Will and Diddy. But then, allegedly, got scared off. She frames it as intimidation, like he was warned to back away for his own safety. And yes, Jaguar goes even further with it. She has floated a rumor about a private recording involving multiple high-profile names, including Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith, tied to Will and Diddy and Bryshere. She presents it like she's seen something. But that's exactly the kind of claim that lives in the rumor zone, because the internet repeats it nonstop without anything publicly verified. Now, when people try to match Jaguar's lawsuit talk to something specific, they start pointing to speculation about a massive civil case with a number like $50 million being thrown around in online discussions. Some of that comes from a blind item that hinted a male accuser could step forward against an A-list mogul. And of course, the internet instantly started connecting dots to Diddy and then dragging Will into the same conversation. And remember what I said earlier about Bilal claiming he had receipts? Bilal has claimed that Bryshere told him serious allegations involving Will, and he also suggests Diddy was part of the same pattern. The way Bilal frames it is not they were friends. He frames it as coercion and misconduct. Those are his claims, and that's why this keeps turning into a wildfire online. Because once those words enter the chat, people treat every rumor like it's evidence. Then the conversation veers into the Smith family. There have been rumors for a while that Will is controlling behind the scenes, especially with his kids. Jaguar adds her own version of that, claiming Jaden allegedly left Will's home as a teenager because he couldn't take it anymore. She also claims Bilal was the one feeding her information in the first place, which is convenient for the narrative because it turns Bilal into the source and Jaguar into the amplifier. And Bilal didn't just keep the heat on Will, he went back on Tasha K again and shifted more of the attack toward Jada. He blasted her publicly using extreme language and accused her of allegedly knowing what was happening and doing nothing to stop it. That's how he frames it. And that angle is exactly what triggers the nastiest kind of debate, because it turns the story into who enabled what. Then comes the legal threat part again, but this time with paperwork. Bilal has filed a lawsuit against Jada claiming she threatened him after he refused to be silenced. He describes a confrontation at the Regency Cabana Commons back in September 2021, where he claims she told him that if he kept speaking on her personal business, he could end up harmed. He also alleges she pressured him to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and that after that, he began receiving threats from people he associates with Will and Jada's circle. And once that hit the internet, the reactions were exactly what you'd expect. Some people repeated Jaguar's claims, saying young men allegedly ran out of the Smiths' home and that even certain people kept their distance. Others focused on Bilal's storytelling, saying the way he described Bryshere sounded like fear, like someone terrified of powerful names, and they argued that if that's true, it explains why Bryshere later crashed out the way he did. But now I want to know what you think. Do you believe this is a real story with real smoke behind it, or do you think it's a rumor machine spinning out of control? And do you think Bryshere will ever speak directly and give his own version of what really happened? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want the next chapter, tap the next video on screen.